what prompted this call, amongst other things, is I don't know if you guys saw the MMR email that's talking about they're advertising merchandise for the Christmas selling season. It reminded me that it's never too early to think about the holiday inventory, and so we did. And we put together some options, and one of them is including a container. Now, some of you on the call already have containers, so that's all good. But there's one thing I want to tell you. We are not going to change our ways of doing business. We are still, if you go to the second slide, we always will be a small order company with no minimums. In other words, we will always, onesies and twosies, 5, 10, whatever you like. We'll never put a minimum on anybody or any dealer that we've had or tech dealer that we've ever had, and we never will. But we do want to offer the container discounts for those who can take advantage of that option. Go next slide, if you would, Joanna. Now, before we get to this, I'd like to mention again that I would start considering very seriously about the Christmas selling season. This year we are in great shape so far with inventory being loaded in China and being here much in time for the holiday season. In the past, we have had some issues with getting things here in time. One of the best ways to get around that is to order what you think you might need now, and we'll be here in plenty of time, and we'll give you some shipping dates at the very end of the presentation here. Okay, now on to the Become a Powerhouse slide. Shipping containers really are a nice way to get things in at a discount and also exactly what you want. When a container is ordered, it's ordered individually.
Bob, look at Main Street Music.
Oh, hi, Ben. Ordering a container, you can pretty much ask what you would like on it. And so you have very much flexibility in the ordering procedures, and you will get what you want when you want it, and it will be there for the holiday season. Now, some of the things that are available through that, in fact, I lost my slide here. Let me get back. Are free shipping. The container shipped directly to your store. You have free flooring terms, which might be an option, and ready-to-go stock after sale. Having the stock to go right after the sale is very important in a lot of cases because, especially in the holiday season, you're going to be looking at impulse items. And that's going to be something that, you don't want to lose a deal because there's something that you would have ordered anyhow, but you didn't. And also, you get a 10% discount on the inventory from the container. So there's a lot of different reasons to go that route if you can. Now, again, I'd like to emphasize that is only an option. We are still going to work on smaller orders with smaller dealers and tech dealers because that's where that's where we started and that's where we're going to be. So I, again, just want to remind you, if you just came in, that these are options. Okay, go to the next slide if you would, Joanna. Okay. Here is something that really is a great trigger to order in advance a container. Now, the containers will come in, and I'm going to ask Basilius to give us some close to specific dates, but they will be coming in probably at the end of August if we put the order in soon on a container. And the terms of the time frames will be discussed at the end of the meeting, but just to give you a heads up. If you're worried about getting stuff in and then running out, one of the greatest options on this container situation is that if you do order a container, that whatever the prices on that container were for you, which would include the 10% discount and also the super discount on the 121s, you'll get at every replacement until 12/31/17. In other words, before the end of the year, say you get a couple on a container, a 178 and a 161, and you sell the 178, you will replace it with the 10% discount. That's a tremendous option to have through the course of the rest of the year, so you won't get caught short. Next slide, if you would, Joanne. Again, if you order by August 5th, you're guaranteed your container by the first part of September. 15 to 12 units in a container, depending on the mix. Now, we asked that in any mix of the containers, and again, 12 to 15, a 12 container shipment would be a couple, 3 grams on there, which takes the container sizing down a little bit. 15 units would be mostly uprights and maybe a 1 gram. But we asked that out of the container that there are 3 regular items from our regular price list, and you can order as many 121s in colors as you like. So that is a great option because the price on the 121s, of course, is drastically reduced in the container. Now, the container arrives at your store, and you'll have to provide your own movers. Those who would never receive the container, here's how it works. The whole we have a picture of it and how it looks actually in the next slide. The containers come, and you get a couple of movers. They unload the container, and there's no shipping charges. So, in other words, the container arrives at the store at no charge. Your only cost is a couple movers, or if you have the capacity to do it yourself, unload them. And again, you save a whole bunch of money on each one. Normally, the terms on a container are half paid on an order and half paid when the container is on the water. Now, there are options on how to do that. Obviously, we have the flooring situation and also whatever other option that we make available during this time on these container orders. Next slide, please, Joanna. Okay, these are some pictures of how a container looks when it comes in, so everybody has an option to see the procedure. That container, up in the top corner, there's on a flatbed, and the pianos are stacked, and you can see how they're stacked, so you will need some kind of a forklift to get them off under normal circumstances. But that's how they look when they come in, and you take them off, and the container goes away. Now, this is a photo by the way, courtesy of Brigham Larson Pianos in Orem, Utah. Now, Brigham started very small with us, and everybody knows Brigham's story and where he's at right now. And we'd like to see everybody reach that level of success. Next slide, please, Joanna. Okay, there's a better picture of the container and how it arrives. Now, to give you a heads up, there are many dealers that have taken advantage of the container program, and there is a big benefit of increased sales. And very simply, the reason is, if you get a container, you have the merchandise when they walk in, and this is especially important around the Christmas season because, again, the impulse buys are tremendous during that period. So if you do have the inventory there, it's a lot easier to sell it. In other words, if you have a 178 and they want a 161, you have a 161, well, you got it. Now, many people have ordered pianos, 178s in lieu of 161s, and we'll do that, and it works. But it makes it a little easier when you have the inventory there, especially in the 121s. Okay, next. Okay, and this is basically reiterating what I just said. If you have the merchandise, it becomes much, much easier to sell. And if you have it available or available in a warehouse, it is a little bit easier to get out the door. Now, there are a few things involved with the containers. There are some options. If you have somebody close by to you that is within driving distance and they do their own deliveries, you could split a container with somebody if they're close enough. As far as the options go, again, take into consideration that the container goes to one location. So if you're having a warehouse, you have to make options to bring it from the warehouse to your store. And the other thing is you want to make sure that the containers are in a position where the trucks can get in and out. And we always check ahead of time with the shippers to make sure that we don't get a container all ordered and all of a sudden they can't get the trailer up to your location. Okay, Bass, you're on the line, so I'm going to turn this portion over to you. Go right ahead.
So thank you so much, and thanks for the excellent presentation. I want to also say welcome everyone. I wasn't all there at the beginning. Came a little bit late. I do want to say two things. The first thing is we are a small owner company. We don't cater to huge stores. We are focused on, in many cases, technicians who bring the quality of service and customer focus to the table. However, I would like to make 2 points in conclusion, if you allow me to. The first one is you'll have to have pencil and paper next to you to really appreciate the first point that I'd like to make. And that is, if you take a HU1P, this is our 40-inch professional instrument that goes really well, very well in the market, one of the 3 best-selling instruments that we have, and that wholesales, if you have a container, if you order a container, you get a discount, or you pay for that instrument 10% less, and that 10% less is quite a chunk of change. It's $300. Then you take into account an additional $300 to $390 that the movers will charge you, Walter will charge you, and Keyboard Carriage will charge you to deliver to your location. So let's assume that on average $350. Together, these 2 positions make $650. In a container that you would receive, you'd have 15 units, and these 15 units, you'll save yourself $9,000 just by going that route. So having power inventory on your floor increases your margin, it increases the value you can give your customer, and your competitiveness significantly. It's really the right way to go. There's no damages to the pianos, no when is it coming. You have all the inventory in one part. So please take pencil and paper, put that on the paper, and calculate what the difference that makes. It's almost 20% of extra margin that you get. The second point I'd like to mention, and Joanna, could you go back, please, to the pictures of the container loading, if it will, is something that you might not be fully aware of the impact. But we have found that customers, our partners, our family members who opt to go and have a small container come to them, it changes something in their psychology. And Brigham, are you on the phone by any chance? Are you in this conference call?
I am.
Oh, okay, great. Brigham, we thank you first of all for the courtesy of sharing the pictures that came when you unloaded when you unload your containers. Brigham, how has having a lot of inventory, having one big swath of inventory come and be available to you, has that changed the psychology that you and your folks have on the sales floor? And if yes, how so?
I would say it's a pretty big change. When you've got several 5Ps, or several 178s or whatever the best sellers are, 121s, you have a backup, as opposed to needing to place an order and maybe you'll get one in 6 weeks, maybe it'll be 10 weeks, which is very frustrating. So I always have to have at least a backup of all of my best sellers. Like the 218 and the 198, I'll generally at least just have one, whereas the 178, I'll try to have 3 of those. The 161s and the 151s, I'll probably do 2 or 3. 121s, I've got like 10 or 12 at any given time, especially around Christmas, and those will sell out. So yeah, it gives you a lot of power in negotiation, and then psychologically it gives you peace of mind knowing that that you're going to have it there for the next person that walks in.
Thank you. Yep. We have right now over, I haven't counted them, over 15 customers who almost always order larger containers. But I want to make sure that as the finishing thought, you can, once you have ordered a container once a year only, it only takes, every other unit you get from our central warehouse will be at the same discount of 10% to you. So you get the benefit even if you replenish. So you don't have to always take a large shipment. We remain a small owner company, but we wanted really to emphasize this tool expanding your business. I want to thank everybody for participating and then for being part of this call. Joe, back to you. I think we're doing great in time. We're 17 minutes.
Yeah. First of all, any questions? No questions? Well, there's a little housekeeping thing we need to address, which is wonderful. Of course, we haven't had a price increase, and we're not going to, but we are going to have new price lists because there are going to be some surprises on it. One of them, and this is wonderful, is we're going to have a player panel available direct order, so you don't have to mess around with installation. And that will be on the next price list coming out in about a week. And also we have another addition, a larger 120 type series piano with a great pricing structure on it and available in colors. I just want to make it, unfortunately, we still are in the same position with 18-1s and 5s in colors. The only thing available is black. And that's going to be, unfortunately, for a little bit status quo on those. But we have added a 50-inch piano to the mix. So the colors are available in the 50-inch piano, as they are also in the 48-inch 121. So in any case, look for the new price list coming out. Look for the new additions. The 150 grand is already on there, and as is the 121. But these other new additions are, in my mind, a great sales tool, especially if you do get a container in and you have one or two players in the mix. The player piano business last year was a lot better than expected, as, of course, Lori Clutter told me that, but I have a tendency to believe her because she was adamant about the fact that the player systems, the QRS, was very, very sellable. And that is the unit that we use for the factory installations on our piano. So it'll be a QRS unit, and we're going to make them available initially in 151. So it'll be the 151 piano with a player system on it, state-of-the-art, all the options, and the pricing will be on the new price list when you get it next week. So look forward to that. Yes. Okay. Now, any questions pertaining to that? Or pertaining to inventory delivery times, as long as we have you here. In other words, if you do order something, when will you get it? The best guy to ask is Basilis, and we still have him on the line. So if you have any questions about new merchandise ordered and a delivery time, now would be the time to ask. No? Wonderful. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining the conference call. We try to talk fast and get these things over with, so we don't mess around with keeping you away from your technical work or sales or whatever it is that you're taking time out to talk to us about. So truly appreciate it. I think we did this conference call in record time, 20 minutes.
I like it. Sweet and to the point. I appreciate everyone participating.
Okay, have a wonderful day. The telephone numbers, of course, for us are on the screen. I'm sure you all know it, but there they are just in case you need Joanne's or Basilis. Everybody seems to have mine, so there's no problem there. Have a great day, and thanks so much, everybody.